HMD Global's number and decimal model naming hierarchy is already confusing enough, and now there's been a new course correction with the Nokia 8.1. This isn't meant to be a successor to the Nokia 8 or the Nokia 8 Sirocco. Instead, it's a premium model for those who don't really want to spend flagship class money. Has the company managed to judge the market correctly with its latest launch? We're about to find out. The Nokia 8.1's body is made out of solid aluminum with glass on the front and rear. There's a thick, flat band of highly polished steel running all around the sides. Visually, it emphasizes this phone's 7.97mm thickness by splitting the body and interrupting the smooth curves of the sides. This phone is built like a tank. Every part of it feels completely solid. The body doesn't twist or flex even slightly. Despite its proportions, the Nokia 8.1 is easy enough to grip. We were able to use it with one hand in some situations without worrying that it might slip or fall. The display notch is quite wide and the earpiece, front camera, front flash and proximity sensor are accommodated inside it. The chin isn't too thick, but a reflective Nokia logo draws the eye there. The Nokia 8.1 runs the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 710 processor, which is meant to be premium but not quite top of the line. This new SoC supports multiple high-end smartphone features, including a dedicated artificial intelligence subsystem, modern LTE modem, support for multiple high-resolution cameras, and beefy new CPU cores. The integrated Adreno 616 GPU is also supposed to deliver console-like gaming quality. Another highlight of this phone is its HDR10 capable screen. It measures 6.18 inches from corner to corner and has an unusual 18.7:9 aspect ratio, which makes the resolution 1080 by 2246. There's a 3500 mAh battery and 18-watt fast charging is supported. You get a big 18-watt charger in the box, though HMD Global isn't using the Qualcomm Quick Charge name. There's only one configuration option with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. That seems a little stingy considering that 128GB is not uncommon at this price level. You can pop in a microSD card, but that means sacrificing a second SIM thanks to the hybrid dual SIM design. Speaking of SIMs, 4G and VoLTE are supported on both. Our review unit was already running Android 9 Pie when we first took it out of its sealed box. This is also an Android One smartphone, which means you get the stock Android UI and your guaranteed security updates that are quick and regular, as well as 2 major version updates over the next 2 years. Thanks to the wide notch, the only way to see your battery level percentage is to have tiny numbers within the battery icon or pull down the notifications shade. There are a few display presets, so you can choose standard, vivid or muted colors. The default is dynamic, which changes the preset depending on what you're doing. An ambient display feature shows the time, date and notification icons in monochrome, and you can tap to take an action when you get an incoming message. We were curious to put the brand new Snapdragon 710 SoC through its paces with all our usual benchmarks. The results were stronger than what you'd get with the Snapdragon 660, but nowhere near what the Snapdragon 845 can pump out. In terms of real-world usage, the experience was predictably smooth throughout our review period. We were able to swipe between apps and multiple Chrome browser tabs without any stress. PUBG and Asphalt 9 Legends were perfectly smooth as well. Asphalt 9 defaulted to its medium quality preset, but still worked fine after we bumped it up, and PUBG ran at its high frame rate and quality presets from the start. The HDR screen jumped to life when we tried some YouTube demo videos. Even if the resolution drops down to 480p or so, you can watch videos with HDR and there are no modes or settings to worry about. Of course, this will stress the battery, and we noticed a drop of about 2% after watching 5 or 6 minutes of HDR video at 1080p. Sound through the single mono speaker is very loud and not too harsh or tinny. That brings us to battery life, which wasn't terribly exciting. After a full day of above average use, we found that the Nokia 8.1 was down to about 10% by the time we went to bed at night. Our HD video loop test ran for just 9 hours 21 minutes. The Nokia 8.1 has a 12-megapixel primary rear camera with a Zeiss branded lens and optical image stabilization, along with a secondary 13-megapixel fixed focus depth sensor. There's a 20-megapixel front camera with an adaptive mode that combines 4 pixels to capture better detail in low light at the expense of resolution. The camera app is fairly busy with a row of 8 icons on the top to give you quick access to lots of features and the detailed settings menu. A ribbon of modes runs across the bottom, letting you select Square, Panorama, Live Bokeh, Pro, Auto, Photo, Video, Slow Motion and Time Lapse. In Pro mode on a phone this large, it can be quite difficult to reach all the settings while holding the camera up to frame a shot. Photo quality was good but not especially consistent. Many of our daytime samples had very good detail and vibrant colors. The Nokia 8.1 was quick to lock focus and was fun to use. There was a bit of overexposure in some daytime shots and bright parts of the sky would get blown out easily. It took a little while to make sure focus was in the right spot for live bokeh shots, but they came out looking great. At night, however, quality took a nosedive. Shots were generally quite bright, but there was way too much noise and details were grainy. Distant objects couldn't be made out well, and even when shots looked passable on the phone itself, we saw that the focus was sometimes completely wrong when we reviewed our photos on a big screen later. Videos taken in the daytime were crisp and sharp. Optical image stabilization definitely made a difference at the default 1920 by 1080 recording resolution. Even as we walked on an uneven pavement, footage came out looking pretty smooth. At night, there was a weird throbbing effect in some of our sample videos, and they were far shakier and blurrier. The front camera was pretty good in most situations, including the dark. You can choose to overlay shots taken with the front and rear cameras simultaneously, either side by side or picture in picture. Beautification is available and off by default. The Nokia 8.1 is a confusingly named phone. We aren't judging it by its predecessors, but it's hard to say exactly where this phone fits. It doesn't offer a lot of flagship class features, but it also doesn't fit into a value-conscious price bracket. If you want to spend around 30,000 rupees, there are more powerful options such as the Asus Zenfone 5Z and the Poco F1. On the other hand, there are also several models that cost well under 20,000 rupees and deliver a similar level of performance, including the Nokia 7.1. This phone can be seen as an upgrade over the usual Android fare in terms of its style, its construction and material quality, and its cameras, at least during the daytime. A lot of people might also be willing to pay extra just for the Nokia name. There is a lot to like about this phone, but many of those things can also be found in models that cost quite a bit less. Thanks for watching. That was our review of the new Nokia 8.1, and for more reviews and videos like this, do visit us at gadgets360.com.